What you just heard were flashbangs used by SWAT in Jackson County. Actually, I think what they said is, "Come out with your hands up. We have a warrant." Flashbangs in the early morning. Armored SWAT vehicles surrounding a quiet Georgia neighborhood. And federal agents shouting, "Come out with your hands up. We have a warrant." What unfolded in Jackson County wasn't just another drug raid. It was a battlefield moment in America's war against the cartels. This wasn't small-time street dealing. Agents discovered a paramilitary-style organization equipped with 26 firearms, including 12 rifles and even a grenade launcher. Alongside the weapons, enough fentanyl to kill nearly 7 million people. And here's the shocking part. Many of the criminals running this operation were repeat offenders who had already been convicted of drug trafficking, released, and went right back to business. This time targeting communities in Georgia, a state already reeling from a 53% spike in overdose deaths in just 1 year. Hi. Before we continue, one click on the subscribe button fuels all the effort behind this and every future video. Let's break it down. The FBI's major takedown of cartel traffickers in Athens, Georgia, and reveal how President Trump's Operation Take Back America is striking back against these ruthless networks threatening our families, our neighborhoods, and our future. The FBI's Atlanta office, working side by side with the Safe Streets Gang Task Force, delivered one of the most significant blows to cartel activity in Georgia history. 17 gang members tied to a violent drug trafficking organization were arrested in a coordinated crackdown that exposed just how deep cartel influence runs in American communities. 5:30, a major gang crackdown. Tonight, the FBI says it arrested 17 alleged gang members in connection to a violent drug trafficking ring out of Athens. Just this morning, the FBI's Atlanta office joined the Safe Streets Gang Task Force to make those arrests. 11 Alive's Chase House spent the day talking to people in the Athens area who say they woke up to SWAT pounding on their neighbors' doors. Let's start with the numbers because they're staggering. Agents seized 26 kilograms of cocaine. They took 7 kilograms of fentanyl worth about $60,000. They uncovered 50 g of methamphetamine, 4 ounces of crack cocaine, 4 pounds of marijuana, and 20 controlled pharmaceutical pills. When you add it all together, the drugs seized in this single operation could have fueled countless overdoses and destroyed an entire community. But drugs were only part of the story. The weapons cache was even more chilling. 26 firearms were confiscated, 12 rifles, multiple handguns, and shockingly, a grenade launcher. This wasn't a neighborhood dealer with a pistol. This was a cartel-backed organization arming itself for war, ready to challenge law enforcement with military-grade weaponry. Federal officials called it for what it was, not just a drug operation, but a paramilitary organization entrenched in Georgia soil. And here's where the outrage really begins. Many of those arrested weren't first-time offenders. They were men with long rap sheets, convicted felons who had already served years in prison for drug traffic. Instead of turning their life around, they came right back out and immediately resumed pushing cocaine, fentanyl, and meth into communities. Among them were names like Ulysses Bora, Orlando Muckle, Joey Campbell, and Bernard Walker, all of whom had prior conviction. One defendant, Patrick Wilkins, was already a convicted felon, but was caught illegally possessing 5 firearms while trafficking drugs. The pattern is crystal clear. Our justice system's revolving door is putting repeat offenders back onto the streets where they pick up right where they left off. The ringleader of this network, according to prosecutors, was 48-year-old Alo Leo James Penita, known as Cheeto. His background, Mexican. His mission to establish a permanent cartel foothold in Georgia. And make no mistake, Athens wasn't chosen random. It's a college town, home to the University of Georgia and more than 40,000 students. Cartels know that college students are vulnerable targets. They use counterfeit prescription pills, fake Adderall, fake Xanax cut with fentanyl and marketed as study aids or party drugs. The students unknowingly swallow a death sentence. The statistics tell the rest of the story. In 2023 alone, Georgia reported 26 and 49 fentanyl overdose deaths, a shocking 53% increase. From the year before, that's more than 7 Georgians dying every single day. And remember the fentanyl seized in this operation, just one. 7 kilograms was enough to kill nearly 7 million people. If this is what federal agents intercepted, imagine how much has already slipped through. This was a fly-by-night operation. Records show the Panetta Group distributed more than 400 g of fentanyl and over 50 g of methamphetamine in the Athens area. A second group, led by repeat offender Orlando Muckle, had been operating even longer since October 2020, moving over 400 grams of fentanyl and more than 5 kilograms of cocaine into Georgia community. Together, these networks represent years of organized, calculated poisoning of Georgia's population, all under the umbrella of the cartels. To bring these criminals down, law enforcement had to act like they were dismantling a foreign military operation. 13 agencies joined forces, including the FBI, DEA, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and multiple sheriff's offices. 12 search warrants were executed across Athens and Atlanta. Wiretaps were authorized. Intelligence gathering spanned months. It was meticulous, dangerous work, and the payoff was enormous. The dismantling of a sophisticated cartel network embedded in a U.S. college town. This was part of a larger federal initiative, Operation Take Back America, spearheaded under President Trump's leadership. The operation mobilizes the full resources of the Justice Department to go after cartels and transnational gangs with the seriousness they deserve. And this case proves why that approach is necessary. When you're facing criminals armed with grenade launchers and enough fentanyl to kill millions, you're not dealing with simple drug crimes. You're dealing with domestic terrorism. The penalties these defendants face reflect that reality. Federal prosecutors have unsealed indictments carrying maximum penalties of life in prison. For the first time in years, the system is sending a message. Drug traffickers tied to cartels won't just serve a few years and walk free. They'll be held accountable with sentences that fit the devastation they've caused. But let's be clear, this case is a success story and also a warning. The cartel didn't just pass through Athens. They set up permanent infrastructure. They used local streets like Jennings Mill Parkway and Thomas Parkway as distribution hubs. They treated neighborhoods like Jimmy Reynolds Drive and Tyler Circle as their territory. They blended into communities, hiding in plain sight while funneling poison into Georgia household. And while these 17 offenders are now behind bars, countless other networks remain across America.